Hello, welcome to Schneer TV. My name's John Stewart. I'm the product manager at Schneer for Hardwood Flooring. In today's episode, we're going to answer the question, why engineered? Or, why engineered is a better choice for most Canadian consumers. We say engineered flooring is the next generation of wood flooring and has many advantages over regular or solid wood flooring. The main point we want to get across today is that Schneer's products under the Laurentian brand are not produced in Canada, but they're produced specifically for Canada. And what we mean by that is we're asking our manufacturing partners to put in processes that assure that the products work in our dry Canadian climate. Now, we all know why engineered flooring is more stable than solid wood flooring, and that's because we cross-multiply layers within the construction. And that sandwich construction holds itself together in a stable way. Solid wood expands and contracts with changes in moisture content. Engineered flooring, especially well-designed engineered flooring, expands imperceptibly. Now, the general rule of thumb is the more plies in engineered flooring, the more stable the product will be. With 3-ply products, each ply has a significant amount of stress, and there's only 2 glue lines, so there's stress on each glue line. When you have a multi-ply plywood construction, like we do with Kendall as an example, the 7-ply plywood construction has far less stress on each glue line, and each laminate or each ply has less stress to pull against its counterparts on either side. Now, all of our products under the Laurentian brand are produced in the same manner. We take a 2mm sawn or sliced veneer on top, and then we have a multi-ply plywood platform that the veneer sits on, and that combination of a rigid, stable platform with a 2mm wear layer, we believe is the best way to design a product to work in Canada's climate. Now, one of the downsides, or one of the concerns that consumers have with a thin 2mm wear layer is that they won't be able to refinish the product by sanding it down to bare wood, or they may only be able to do that one time. We say that sanding is really not a concern. We believe that very few hardwood floors today will be sanded down to raw wood, and we actually recommend that the products should never be sanded down to raw wood. Instead, we believe if the products start to show wear after many years of use, it's a better recommendation to simply screen and recoat the floor by putting a fresh layer of finish on top of the existing finish rather than trying to remove the existing finish. When we say our products are designed specifically for Canada, I'll expand on that by explaining how we ask our manufacturing partners to do things differently for us than they do for other distributors in the US as an example. The first trick to making a product that works reliably in Canada is to ensure that the raw material is dried to less than 8% before production, and that the raw materials remain below 8% during the process or during manufacturing. So we say the extremes in temperature from season to season and changes in humidity can warp, crack, and distort regular hardwood flooring. Laurentian engineered floors are designed specifically to endure the Canadian climate. Further, we say Laurentian takes greater care in the moisture control of raw materials than other wood flooring producers by closely monitoring and controlling moisture content throughout the manufacturing process. And here's some examples of the issues that we find ourselves in Canada when we're installing engineered flooring or solid wood flooring. In new construction, in stick construction, the subfloors are installed before the roof goes on. And often it's a case that at some point in the building process, there's rain so that subfloors become wet. So we're often working in job sites that are somewhat wet, and in some cases we're working with job sites that are extremely wet. And the question is, will all the moisture be taken out of that building site before the hardwood is delivered? And in many cases, we know that's not the case. So we're trying to design products that work in the real world. All products will work in ideal conditions, but we're often working in Canada in less than ideal conditions. Now, on the flip side, we're in the heating season, in the winter, when the heat's been on for, say, 8 weeks, we know that the average heated house in Canada is drier than some of the driest deserts. And it's not uncommon to find heated homes in Canada at around 20% relative humidity, which is far lower than the recommended range, the range that's recommended by most manufacturers. Now here's a great chart that you can refer to when you're having a conversation with consumers to explain how moisture and wood interrelate. We know that all hardwood at 30% relative humidity acclimates to 6% moisture content. And we also know that 50% relative humidity, all wood acclimates to 9% moisture content. And all manufacturers, solid wood manufacturers and engineered manufacturers, recommend that the home should be kept in a range between 30 and 50 relative humidity, because the expectation is that the floors will perform if they stay within the range of 6 to 9. What we've done with our manufacturing partners is design products that work reliably even when you get outside of that 6% moisture content to 9% moisture content range. Knowing in Canada, in many regions of Canada, especially in the heating season, floors will typically move down to a 4 or 5% moisture content range. So that's trick number one. Trick number one is to ensure that the moisture content of the wood is kept under 8% during the manufacturing process. The next trick of the trade is to produce the top veneer in a way that mitigates or minimizes any risk with veneer checking. Now we know that many products that are produced in North America are produced with rotary veneers. In that case, the veneer is coming off a log just like paper towel coming off of a roll. And it's very easy to recognize that type of product. If I hold up this sample, you can see this grain pattern that's working its way across the plank. That's a typical grain pattern that you'll find with rotary veneers. Rotary veneers have a much greater susceptibility to veneer checking than sawn or sliced veneers. Now, if I bring out another sample in a similar color, in the same species, you'll see in this case that the grain pattern of the wood is rift sawn, which means it's straight grain, or it's plain sawn, meaning you get these cathedrals of grain. And that's what you'll typically see in solid wood flooring as well. And this type of veneer performs much, much better in Canada's dry climates than rotary veneers. So we avoid rotary veneers with all of our manufactured products, all of our engineered wood flooring products. Now, to take that a step further, for all of the engineered products that you'll find in the Laurentian hardwood display that we refer to as the Gemini display, all of these products are what are called dry sawn veneers. In this case, the manufacturers are taking dry lumber and then using a frame saw, they saw individual lamellas or top veneers, and each one of those veneers is in essence a 2 millimeter thick solid piece of wood. That's how all of the Lamette products are produced. Those are the products that you'll find in the Gemini display: Traditions, Cottage, and Old Mill. Further, to ensure that these products work reliably in Canada, the Lamette factory physically measures the moisture content of every veneer and every plywood plank before the products are assembled. If the moisture content is above 8%, then those veneers and those plywood planks are not used for products that are imported to Canada. Now, our other manufacturer partner, LM, produces their veneers in a slightly different manner. In this case, and here's an overall picture of the factory. I like to show pictures of this factory just to give dealers and consumers the confidence that these products are coming from world-class, world-scale factories. In this case, the manufacturer uses a green process to produce the veneers. This is Kendall 3-inch Brazilian cherry. In the slide that you're looking at now, that's the raw material that's used to produce this plank. And the manufacturing process in this case is to take those flitches of wood, to steam the wood to soften it, and then to slice individual veneers one at a time through a Miranaka veneer slicer. And here's another example. This is the raw material that's used for Bentley. So this is a product that's 6 feet long, 7 inches wide, and this is extremely expensive wood that's used in these top veneers. The manufacturer doesn't want to saw the veneers because sawdust is waste, so instead they steam the wood and they run these large flitches through a Miranaka veneer slicer that you see in the photograph attached. The flitches, and you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of the slide, That's what's left of the flitch. It goes through the saw, comes back around on the other side, and now the flitch is 2 millimeters thinner on one side than the other, and that flitch keeps going around and goes through the saw, and an individual veneer is sliced off each time it goes through the veneer slicer. Now, another key step in the manufacturing process is to dry these veneers. If you dry veneers with heat and air movement in a conventional kiln, the wood becomes somewhat brittle. To avoid that, this manufacturer dries the wood in a vacuum dryer. A vacuum dryer dries the wood without heat, and that keeps the wood more supple and much less likely to have veneer checks in the dry heating season in Canada. Now, this next series of slides that I'll run through will just show how the products are produced. In this slide, you can see the logs that are used for the plywood raw material. This is plantation-grown aspen. It's readily available, and it's a very green product. It's available in an FSC version, so we're able to supply FSC as well as our regular goods. To produce the plywood, the logs are cut into 4-foot bolts, the veneers are peeled off, the veneers are then assembled and pressed into plywood. The main story here is that the plywood that's used in these products is designed specifically for flooring. It's not plywood that would be produced and used for a number of different applications like drawer sides in furniture or underlayments. It's designed specifically for flooring, and it works reliably in flooring because it's designed that way. The real key, though, with the success of these products has been this manufacturer's ability to condition the products to 6 to 8% moisture content. Very few manufacturers have this ability. So after LM produces the veneers and produce the plywood, they store the raw material in large conditioning rooms where the temperature and humidity is controlled. In this slide, you can see a photograph of the conditioning room. So inside this large factory, there are several conditioning rooms where the plywood is stored and the veneers are stored at that 6 to 8% moisture content, and that really is the key step in ensuring that our products work very well in Canada. Now here's the next stage in the process. When the plywood and the veneers are at 6 to 8%, they're brought into the factory, they're wrapped in plastic so they don't pick up moisture during the production. The first step is to feed the plywood panels into the glue applicator. The glue is applied, they come out on the other side, the panels come out on the other side, and the panels are slid down onto tables. And on those tables, the women in this section install the veneers by hand into the adhesive, making sure that the best face is up. When they finish one panel, they slide another plywood panel on top, and they build a stack about 10 high. When the stack's complete, it goes to a cold press, a very heavy press, where there's a 100% glue adhesion. The heavy press is designed to make sure that there's 100% contact with the adhesive. The next step is the stacks are separated and individual panels are fed into a hot press. That's where the glue is cured. After the panels are cured, they're inspected, then the individual panels are cut into individual planks. The planks are sanded. Then they're taken to the milling operation. The side match molder puts the tongue and groove on the sides. The end match molder puts the tongue and groove on the ends. And then the products go to the finishing line. But before they go to the finishing line, it's often the case that these products are treated in some way. The sample that we're looking at here is wire brushed. Here's an example of a product that's hand scraped. And I like to point out that all of the products that are produced under the Laurentian brand that are hand scraped are truly done by hand. And there's a big difference in the installed floor. It's hard to see the difference between a machine scraped floor and a hand scraped floor on a small sample, but in an installed floor it makes a significant difference. So after the wire brushing or hand treatments, the products go to the finishing line, then they go to the packaging area, and the individual cartons are heavily wrapped in plastic, then the entire pallet is heavily wrapped in plastic. The products are produced at 6 to 8% moisture content. They're received by us at 6 to 8% moisture content. We deliver it to the dealers at a 6 to 8% moisture content. And the key is just to ensure that the buildings where these products are being installed are kept in the range of 30 to 50% relative humidity. And even if we're outside of that range, these products work reliably because of the care that's taken in their manufacturing. And that brings to a close this segment on engineered flooring, or why engineered flooring is a better recommendation for most Canadian consumers. My name's John Stewart. Thanks for watching.